All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going deep on the white-headed capuchin monkey.
Fascinating creatures, really.
Absolutely, and we've got this incredible essay that really dives into all the details.
Yeah, it's amazing how much there is to learn about them.
So much. Okay, so maybe we should start with the basics.
Sure.
What do these monkeys even look like? I'm picturing your average brown monkey.
Oh, no, not even close.
Really?
They're actually really striking. They've got this jet black body, but then their face and shoulders are bright white,
Wow.
almost like they're wearing a little cape.
That's wild.
And they're not that big either. I mean, they range from like 3 to 9 pounds.
3 to 9, that is pretty small.
Yeah.
I bet that helps them get around in their environment, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, think about it. They live in all kinds of forests, like rainforests, dry forests, even mangroves.
That's a lot of variety.
Yeah, so they need to be agile to move through all those branches and stuff.
Makes sense. And speaking of agility, I always think about monkeys and their tails, right? Like, that's got to help.
Oh, absolutely. And the white-headed capuchin's tail is like no other.
Really?
It's what's called a prehensile tail. Basically, it acts like an extra limb, like a fifth hand.
Wow.
Super strong, they can grip branches, hang upside down, even support their whole body weight with it.
That's insane. It's not just for balance then. It's like essential for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It lets them live this totally arboreal lifestyle.
Living in the trees like that.
Yeah, they can reach food that other monkeys can't even get to.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And speaking of food,
Uh-huh.
I'm always curious about what different animals eat. What's on the menu for these guys?
Well, they're omnivores, so they actually eat a pretty wide variety of things.
Okay, that makes sense.
Fruits, nuts, seeds, flowers, the usual.
Right, the monkey staples.
Yeah, but it gets interesting. They also eat insects,
Okay.
small vertebrates like lizards, and even bird eggs.
They eat bird eggs.
Yeah.
That's kind of brutal.
Well, got to do what you got to do to survive, right? I mean, they are opportunistic eaters,
I guess so.
but this flexibility in their diet is actually really important for their ecosystem, too.
Really? How so?
Well, think about it. When they eat fruit, they're spreading seeds all over the forest.
Oh,
So they help new plants and trees to grow.
that's pretty cool. Like little gardeners?
Exactly. And, that brings us to another really fascinating thing about them.
What's that?
They use tools.
Oh, right. I've heard about this. Monkeys using tools. It seems almost like too smart.
I know, it really challenges how we think about the differences between humans and animals.
Yeah, for sure.
But these capuchins, they've been seen using sticks to get insects out of trees, and they use rocks to crack open nuts.
So it's not just like instinct. They're actually figuring stuff out.
Exactly. It shows a real intelligence, a problem-solving ability.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's not just for food, right? Like their social structures are pretty complex too.
Oh, absolutely. They live in these groups, up to 20 individuals, and there's a whole hierarchy there.
Like a whole little society.
It really is. A dominant male leads the group, and you have males, females, offspring, all interacting.
Wow. I bet there's some drama there.
You can bet on it,
Mm-hmm.
but they also have these really strong social bonds. They groom each other, share food, they work together to defend their territory.
So it's not all conflict then.
No, it's a real community.
That's cool. And I imagine communication must be super important in a group like that.
Oh, it's crucial. They have this incredible system of vocalizations, facial expressions, body language.
Like a whole language of their own.
Pretty much. So much nuance. It's really fascinating.
That's incredible. I mean, they're not just smart, they're social butterflies too.
Huh, you could say that. But for all their intelligence and how well they adapt, they still face a lot of challenges.
Right, that's what I wanted to ask about next. Deforestation, the pet trade, all that. It must be really impacting them.
It really is. And we could dive into all that in the next part of our deep dive.
Perfect. Let's take a break and we'll come back and unpack all that. So we were talking about how intelligent these white-headed capuchins are and all the cool stuff they do in their social groups.
Yeah, it really is remarkable.
But then there's the other side of it, the threats they face. Like, where do we even begin with all that?
Well, you mentioned deforestation, right? And I mean, that's huge.
Yeah,
It's like their whole world is shrinking.
literally shrinking.
Yeah, they're losing their homes, their food. They can't even move around as easily.
It's like taking away everything they need.
Exactly. And it makes it harder to find mates, too.
So their populations start to suffer.
Yeah, it's like this chain reaction.
One problem leads to another.
And then on top of that, you have the illegal pet trade.
Right, that's a whole other thing.
It's awful, really. Imagine these intelligent social creatures taken from their homes, stuck in cages.
It's heartbreaking.
It really is. The capture process is traumatic, and then they're shipped off,
Yeah.
kept in these horrible conditions.
I can't even imagine.
And, it makes you wonder, why would anyone want a capuchin as a pet in the first place?
Right, like what's the appeal?
Well, some people think it's exotic or cool to have a smart monkey,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
they don't realize these are wild animals.
Right.
They need to be in a group, they need to forage, they need all this stimulation.
And just give them that in a house.
Exactly. It's not just about space, it's about their whole way of life.
And a lot of them end up abandoned, right?
Yeah, when the novelty wears off, they're just dumped.
That's so sad. But there must be people out there trying to help, right? What are they doing to protect these monkeys?
Well, there are a lot of different efforts going on, actually. One of the biggest is creating protected areas.
Like national parks and stuff?
Exactly. Those are places where the monkeys can live without human interference.
So like a safe haven for them.
Pretty much. But it's not just about creating them, it's about managing them properly.
What do you mean?
Well, you need park rangers, you have to enforce anti-poaching laws, prevent habitat destruction within the park.
So it's like a constant battle.
In a lot of ways, yeah. And then there's the issue of habitat restoration, too.
So like replanting trees.
More than that, it's about restoring degraded areas, connecting fragmented forests.
I guess that makes sense. If the monkeys can move between different areas more easily.
Yeah, it increases their chances of survival.
And it's good for the whole ecosystem, too.
Exactly. It benefits all kinds of plants and animals.
Win-win.
Yeah.
But what about the pet trade? How do you even stop that?
That's tricky. You need stricter laws, better enforcement, but also public awareness campaigns.
So people understand it's wrong.
Yeah. People need to know that buying a wild animal like a capuchin is harmful.
There are so many other animals that make great pets.
Exactly. So it's about changing perceptions, not just punishing people.
I see. Sounds like a lot of work.
It is. It really is. It's
Oh.
going to take governments, conservation groups, and individuals all working together.
Okay, so we've talked about the threats, the challenges, all the efforts to protect these monkeys.
Yeah.
But what does the future hold for them? Is there any hope?
Well, that's what we're going to explore in the last part of our deep dive.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
I think you'll be surprised by some of the innovative solutions people are coming up with.
So we've talked about all the threats these white-headed capuchins are up against and all the work people are doing to try and protect them.
Yeah, it's a real uphill battle.
But you mentioned some glimmers of hope, right? What makes you optimistic?
One thing that's really exciting is this shift towards community-based conservation.
Community-based.
Yeah, you see, protecting these monkeys, it's not just about like setting aside land or, just enforcing laws.
Right.
It's about working with the people who actually live in these areas.
Oh, that makes sense. They must know a lot about the ecosystem, right?
Exactly. They have this deep understanding of the environment, and they can play a huge role in monitoring and protecting these monkeys.
So you're empowering them to be stewards of their own resources.
Exactly. And that's way more effective than just imposing solutions from the outside.
So it's about finding ways for both people and wildlife to benefit.
That's the goal. Yeah. Like some communities are starting these ecotourism initiatives.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so tourists can come and see the monkeys in their natural habitat.
And it helps the local economy, too.
Exactly. It's a win-win. And, there are also organizations working to provide alternative livelihoods for people.
Like what kinds of things?
Well, sometimes people might be involved in activities that harm the capuchins, like logging or poaching.
Right.
So these organizations offer training and support for more sustainable practices, things that don't damage the forest.
So you're addressing the root of the problem.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And, there's some really cool technology being used now, too.
Really? Like what?
Well, some researchers are using technology to track the monkeys and monitor their movements. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. They can gather data that helps identify really important areas for conservation.
That's incredible. So technology is helping to protect these monkeys.
Big time. There are even projects using drones to map deforestation and find illegal logging operations.
Drones? That's wild.
I know, it's really impressive stuff. And it's not just scientists, everyday people are getting involved too.
That's great. I was going to ask, what can regular people do to help?
Well, first of all, just learning about the issues is huge.
Knowledge is power.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then there are so many ways to get involved. You can support organizations working to protect capuchins.
Like donating or volunteering.
Exactly. Or even just spreading the word, telling your friends, sharing info on social media.
Every little bit helps, right?
Absolutely. And, don't underestimate the power of your voice.
What do you mean?
Well, talk to your family and friends about these issues. Contact your elected officials.
To push for better environmental policies.
Yeah. It all makes a difference.
So raising awareness, supporting conservation, making our voices heard.
That's what it's all about.
Hmm.
Remember, the future of these capuchins, and really the health of our planet, it depends on all of us.
That's powerful stuff. This deep dive has really been eye-opening.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's inspiring to see how many people care about these monkeys and are fighting for them. But it also makes you realize how much work there's left to do.
Definitely. But remember, this is just the start of your journey into the world of the white-headed capuchin. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep speaking up for them.
I will. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. We hope you learned something new and maybe feel inspired to take action yourselves.
That's what we hope for.
Until next time.